Well, before we leave, I'll probably take some out and throw them over.
Yeah, if you look at the dictionary under view, see a picture of that.
She's a 1928 vintage, 600 pounds falling weight.
Okay, we've gone up into the northern part of the county and we're at Flashing Forge. This is Alan Flashing. He's a longtime artist blacksmith. He's just got a really neat shop here with several pretty spectacular anvils in it that he's used over the years. And so Alan's going to describe to us some of the characteristics and the origins of some of the anvils that he has in here. This is probably about as many pounds of anvils as we're going to find in one shop around here. Alan, what have you got?
Well, we can start off with this one right here. This was my first anvil. And this is a Pettinghaus anvil. It's 230 pounds, and it's a really tough, good anvil. And it's a type of a London pattern. It was my very first one. It's a forged and cast.
Forged and cast.
And they welded it together at the waist, the two pieces. And, but they're really, really tough anvils.
Okay.
Next one here, this is a Cole Schwa London pattern. This was my second anvil. And this is a 500 pound anvil. And she's really nice. And the hardy hole is so big on this that I had to make an adapter. So
Cole Schwa is a Swedish anvil, yes?
yeah, and they're a little soft from the manufacturer, but they do harden over time.
Let's see the crown jewel.
This is my crowning glory as far as my anvils go. This is a South German style anvil. It was made in 1908, 204 kilos. That's 448 pounds. And this one ran up and down the Rhine River on a repair barge. And my master smith, Paul Zimmerman, gave this to me as a gift when I left. He even shipped it back for me. They wouldn't let me carry it on the airlines. But this is a beautiful, and this is the original stand that it came on. I added the name. This was a girl that I was kind of enamored with for a while in Germany. And but it's a great anvil, and she fits me, even with with the block and everything. She's about the right size. I personally believe that the South German style anvils is the pinnacle of anvil design.
Okay, and you assert that because it has got a pritchel, it's got a hardy that's easily accessible. The tapered heel is more useful than just a square heel.
It is. It just makes it simple. You know, if you're using a pair of tongs, then you've got a little bitty short piece here, and you want to be working on this far edge, which is your best spot. It's hard to do here, but you can come out here and you can do this. It has very few limitations and so many good things about it. It's been repaired in a few spots.
Sure.
And I've got a little spot here to re-repair. But you know, made in 1908. You'd have a few nicks in you too, I guess.
Oh yeah, I would say. So this is probably nice to have an upsetting block just on the offside of the anvil.
Yep, that's the upsetting block. Some of them put over here, but the old ones were always over here. And then they have this clip out here, this clip horn, or in Germany they call them a Voramboss, I think, and it gives you a square heel to use, but along with this. But this is, to me, is the best all-around thing.
Yeah, that's a beauty.
And this one was made out of several pieces. You know, it's got a forge welded on tool steel plate. And I would imagine that this piece and this piece is been welded on too. You know, that's what these mouse holes in the anvils were for. You know, where they could get their tools in it to lift them around and get them up into the fire and up against their grinding wheels and stuff.
How long have you had that power hammer? Swing your can. I know we're here talking about anvils, but you got to have the context of this anvil and that hammer within 15 feet of each other. How long have you had that, and how did you get hold of that?
When I was working with Paul Zimmerman in Germany, he used to get the Anvil's Ring magazine, and in the Anvil's Ring magazine, this hammer came up for sale from a guy back in New England or New Hampshire or something, and I got in touch with him, and we talked about it, and I decided I want it, and so I called my mom and had her send a deposit out to him and said I'd get it when I got back in the country. I was in Germany for about 5 months, Germany and Sweden. But that was 1994. And so I've had it, but then when I bought this hammer and it got it delivered to my shop in Texas, it sat out there on the pad uninstalled until I moved here, because I was not going to install this hammer on a building I didn't own.
Yeah.
The concrete foundation is 6 feet thick. It's like there's 18 yards of concrete underneath it, and there's like, you know, $500, $600 worth of bolts and whatnot in the thing to hold it down, and it's just, they're expensive hammers to mount, even for the smaller ones, but when you get the big ones, they get really spendy.
So I think Cy told me that you had some excavation issues. You dug the hole and you had some slough on the edge of the hole that ended up adding to the concrete volume you had to put in here.
Because I was a new Oregonian, as I just moved to Oregon, I dug this pit to put the foundation in. I dug the pit in October before it starts to rain. And every time it would rain, the sides would slope. I started off with a 16 cubic yard hole, and every time it would rain and the sides would slope in, I'd have to put in another half yard of concrete. You know, and I've always said the more concrete, the better. So I'm not worried about it. But it starts getting more and more expensive.
Yeah. All right, I see a couple other anvils back here.
That's a little 65-pound Colchois that needs a little bit of repair work. You can pick it up and set her up here on this one. This was a guy brought this in to me in Texas to get repaired and never came to pick it up, and so
there you go.
Here it is.
So so this is a Colchois, 65 pounds.
Yeah, it's marked. This is probably about 125, 150 maybe. I don't know, but it's
okay. Does that say solid rock?
It's it's solid rock. Yeah.
That makes me think Peter Wright, doesn't it?
I don't know. The horn's been repaired. It's kind of a funky shaped horn. It needs a little bit work on it, but it belonged to one of my best friends, and he died, and his wife asked me if I wanted it, and I said, well, of course.
Of course you do. Of course you do.
It could be a Peter Wright, but I don't know.
I don't know either.
I found no other markings on it besides this solid rock sign on there.
Yeah, and it doesn't have the characteristic little flat lip on the front.
Yeah, I don't think it's a Peter Wright, but it's a nice old anvil, and she gets used. She's also got some repair issues that I haven't worked on yet. Right past the Green District out there.
Is that down near Haiti Donors?
I don't know. I don't think they need. Yeah, but it's just right there. You take that Green District exit and you go in there and then go in that. And about 6 or 7 years later, they went up to a 700-pound falling weight for the same size hammer. This is a 5B. And they increased the falling weight on the 5B up to 700 pounds after whatever reason. I don't know. But the anvil here, the sow block, is over 10,000 pounds. It's a 20 to